Namaskar. Welcome to Conversations with Rakesh. Here's today's question. Rakesh, I work in a multinational. I've been given a feedback that I am quite boring and uninteresting as a person, especially in meeting rooms. Any tips and suggestions? How do I become a very interesting person in a meeting room? It's a very deep question. Let's first understand the word interesting person from a corporate perspective. Why do we have to become interesting? Because it comes from the need of the corporate people to collaborate with each other, work together, produce better results. And our communication and collaboration and behavior plays a very interesting, vital role in that. If the other person is trying to talk to you and you are looking very dull, boring, uninterested, the conversation stops and the communication breaks down. Hence, the need for you to be slightly different. Also, as you rise up in the corporate world, how you run meetings, how you inspire people, how do you make them gravitate towards you is documented in a concept which is connected to leadership and has a term. It's called executive presence. This term is also called charisma, aura, magnetism, personality, many more things. But broadly, it comes down to the word personality and behavior, which is common language. Certain people are slightly naturally tuned to make their presence felt in the meeting rooms. Certain people hesitate. We hesitate because at homes we are different, in corporate world we are different. So we are kind of confused and we sometimes even don't want to show off. We are governed by some cultural problems when we were kids. All in all, we end up in a meeting room behaving just like how we would behave at home or when we are comfortable with ourselves. But the problem is that that's the exact issue you need to be aware of, that you might be comfortable, but your presence in the room requires you to be a very different person. That's what your question is. So let's go deeper on that what is exactly the question, what is the objective that you need to focus on? And the word is very simple, that when you have to project your presence on people, it's not about speaking loudly, it's not about dressing very flashily, it's actually about making an impression. And it's also about attracting people towards you so that they listen to you, you add value to that meeting room, they look up to you as a leader and as a good resource, and you are able to now create a productivity increase by your presence. And in that, you have to become interesting also. These studies are taught in conversations, interpersonal communication, charismatic leadership, behavior, aura, charisma. But I think let's focus on three concepts I'm going to give you that will help you become a better, interesting person so that you can project your positive presence on people. The first is, according to research, you are considered to be an interesting person with a lot of presence when your appearance is slightly more interesting. Now, this is where debates will start. I'm not asking you to buy expensive Manevar, jazzy orange colored band gala and go to office. That's not my intention. I also am not requesting you to suddenly wear a suit boot and go to office because sometimes we get confused that executive presence mean suit boot, tie, shai, and all that stuff. No, I think look at your own personality and start investing in your own appearance. Look slightly more distinguished and be consistent about it. You don't have to buy expensive clothes. You don't have to go to the beauty parlor. I think based on our personalities and the concepts we work in and the culture of the organization, there must be a way to look a little bit more distinguished. So appearance do create attractions and create that process where other people want to connect with you and do it consistently. Just because Friday is a day where you wear tie doesn't mean that you can't wear a tie on Monday. And just because you're a person who loves to wear uh, kurta pajama at home doesn't mean you have to wear kurta pajama in the marketplace or in the corporate world. So be consistent and fit the environment that you're working in and start to look a little bit distinguished. My sincere request is We underestimate the power of dressing, presence, and our looks in corporate leadership, especially in India. Because in India हमको सिखाया जाता है कि ज़्यादा दिखावा मत करो. Don't come in the radar of people. Just be a very ordinary person, mediocre. And I don't subscribe to that. So please make up your mind that if you want to be an interesting person, you have to look distinguished and you have to do it from your heart. So that is request number one. Request number two, according to research, people are attracted to those people who are knowledgeable. They are interesting because they have amazing knowledge. They're able to tell stories about their work. They're able to explain some things in easy words. And that is very critical that you need to remember that in that meeting room, you'll get a chance to speak. How easily you can convey a concept in a story and how many people listen to you and how many of them are attracted to you is the concept you need to work on. And that's an opportunity for you to become a great storyteller. You have a technical problem, you have 2 minutes to explain, tell a story, connect it to a great concept from a book, connect it to a great podcast or a researcher, but make it interesting. And the way you speak is also very important. You have to speak like a storyteller. So please remember, the most interesting people in our families and in our societies and in our communities are the storytellers. We just gravitate towards them because maja aata hai. They entertain us. So you have to become the storyteller with knowledge so that people find you a lot more interesting. And the last message, third idea to make you interesting, that we sometimes don't realize that we get slightly confused in this concept called first impressions. कि मतलब रूम में घुसो और impress करना शुरू कर दो. And when somebody speaks something, interrupt them and start your own. And you become like one Arnab Goswami kind of a person who's always shouting. That is not interesting or presence. That is loud noise that probably can be very dangerous. So, my request to you is the third and the most critical element of being an interesting person is to also behave very well. Be a good listener, respect people, smile at them, let them speak. The meeting is not about you all the time. कोई एक अच्छा सा एग्जाम्पल दे रहा है अबाउट अ ट्रैवल दैट दे वेंट थ्रू. आप बीच में मत घुस जाओ कि मैंने भी वहां ट्रैवल किया था एंड आई एंजॉयड इट. इट्स नॉट दैट. It's about that person to speak about their travel and you support them. You respect them. And if you can behave properly in a meeting room, make your presence felt with your distinguished attire and appearance, tell amazing stories, and listen to each other and smile and be a good citizen of that place, I think you will become a lot more interesting person. So let me summarize the three conditions and three requests I have. Please, first of all, learn to project your presence by your distinguished appearance. I'm not saying suited, booted, and all over the top. Choose something that looks good on you and go in that room consistently wherever you are in that attire and change it according to the context and do a good job of it. Number two, become an interesting storyteller. Project your knowledge. Your knowledge will create attraction in people. And the third, please behave properly, respect people, listen to them. Good listeners are very interesting people. You'll be surprised that if you become a good listener, people will come to you like bees getting attracted to honey. And that's how interesting people are made. So, on that note, I hope you become great, interesting people and attract people like bees to honey. Stay safe.